But here we go for the featherweight championship. Carlos Rosado will be challenging the reigning champ, Frank Rosenthal, who has run through everybody in his path here at Rise. This is one I've been waiting for. Let's kick it over to the ring announcer. Here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, they're raring to go. This is a title bout for the Rise Featherweight Championship, 145-pound weight limit. 10 minutes of grappling, 1 round of EBI overtime. Introducing first out of Gracie Barra, the challenger tonight. Welcome, please, Carlos Rosado. Ready for action across the mat from Renzo Gracie Bayside. He is the current Rise Featherweight Champion. Here is Frank Rosenthal.
So many superlatives that can be said about Frank Rosenthal. Undefeated in Rise competition, many tremendous victories to his credit. Carlos Rosado, black belt out of Gracie Barra, trained by Dros Carolla, now running Gracie Barra, North Babylon. Highly experienced, 2-time Rise winner himself. This is a title match that is worthy of the main event on any other card. Two grapplers at the top of their game. Frank Rosenthal, noted for his leg lock attacks, and immediately looks to be going for that. Carlos Rosado is ready for it, switches his hips, and is keeping his legs out of danger. And there is a hush that has fallen over the crowd, Nick.
Yeah, even in the last match, I found myself just watching it instead of calling it. But both of these guys
Frank's going for it. He went for that omoplata transition to the leg lock.
He came in super hype.
Carlos Rosado has a tremendous triangle choke.
Yeah, I think a few people may be overlooking Mr. Carlos Rosado here. Kid got game.
This is going to be a 10-minute submission-only match with 1 round of EBI rules overtime, if necessary. I'm sure neither guy wants it to go to overtime.
Yeah, they don't want to go to OT. They want to keep it in regulation for sure.
I mean, I can't help but notice, Nick, this place is dead silent.
Silent.
The crowd was going crazy when they were introduced, and you know what it is? It's this tension. This is high stakes. This is a championship match. This is the one. This is one of the matches that everybody came here to see, and everybody is on edge, waiting to see who strikes first.
Yep.
Frank Rosenthal is working his guard. He owns the record for the fastest submission in Rise Invitational history when he submitted Jimmy Santiago with a heel hook in about 10 seconds, which was just an unbelievable feat.
Yep. I actually was competing that night against Alex Eklund, I believe, and I remember that. That was something else, man.
You snap your fingers and it was done.
Yep.
And now he's in that seated guard, trying to get the grips he wants so he can get under Carlos. Every time he scoots his legs under, Carlos steps back and sort of dances out of it. Carlos is trying to find the right positioning to put pressure. He wants to pass the guard. And he's trying to figure out this guard and figure out the best way to do that. You see Frank's corner, Gary Tonin, Nick Ronan, both giving instructions from the sidelines. And Carlos looks like he's kind of attacking a rattlesnake. He's trying to wait in there and think, all right, where's my angle for attack? Frank looks like the rattlesnake that's coiled and ready to strike. And waiting to look for his opening and trying to get underneath.
It was smart by Mr. Rosado there to 2-on-1 the ankle. Now you see him trying to pass the side control, but Frank Rosenthal doing a great job regaining that guard.
Yeah, good pressure that Carlos is putting there from top. He had Frank's legs kind of crossed up, putting weight on at the hip.
Keep working, Stassi!
About 3 minutes and change have gone by so far. And this is what it's been. It's been Frank trying to work that guard and get under the legs. Now this is a position where you might see something. Frank is looking like he's trying to get that far arm, and if he can't get it, he'll probably go for the far side leg.
Yeah.
Carlos is trying to, number one, keep his limbs safe, but number two, maintain the pressure, and he shoots up a triangle from half guard, immediately transitioning to a reverse triangle position, still hooking the leg of Carlos Rosado, and he uses it to snag a leg.
Great defense by Carlos Rosado. He's a slick little move by Frank Rosenthal, but you know, Carlos was able to just catch it in the nick of time and was able to escape.
The crowd appreciates it. They know what was going on. That was really nice. Frank shot that triangle up from half guard.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
Reversed it, threatening the omoplata, and then rolled back for the leg lock. Carlos got his knee out of the situation just in time and was able to kind of give a little jump forward to get the rest of his leg out. But a good attacking sequence, and Carlos Rosado shows that he's not going to be an easy submission. Not by any means. Now a little bit of a reassessment from both competitors. Both looking extremely focused. You can read the expression on their faces. Carlos sort of walking the circle around, controlling those ankles, and again, trying to find the position that he wants to pass. Frank is pummeling his legs and looking for grips. We're officially halfway through this match. Now back in the same position that Frank was able to set up that triangle before.
I see a G-roll.
It's there if he wants it. But Carlos is controlling that far wrist. Every time Frank goes for one of those ankles for control, Carlos dodges out of danger. He just completely takes himself out of the guard situation. It's kind of a strategy that a lot of competitors play against these Danaher Death Squad guys. They try to be all the way out or all the way in because they feel it's that middle zone where their legs are exposed. But these guys are so good at bringing the fight into their range, into their zone where they want it to be, and everything feeds into that system. So Frank is used to guys trying to avoid that situation.
Yep, and you know, they'll get to a point in the match where you see it oftentimes with guys like Frank Rosenthal and great leg lockers, where within the match, guys on top, like we see Carlos here, will get frustrated and just say, you know, oh, I'm just going to go for it and just, you know, and just try to jump in. And that's exactly what Frank Rosenthal wants. He wants to jump into that. And the second he thinks he's going to go only for the legs, that's when he's going to switch it up just like he did before and throws that triangle up. So, I mean, you never know what you're going to get here.
Yeah, now he's got a better position. He's at least got control. And although Frank has not been successful with any of his submission attempts or really for an extended period of time trying to get the grips that he wants, Carlos has been more or less playing Frank's game.
Right.
Not the other way around. If you had to,
well, he's forced to. He's forced to play that game. The only other thing that Carlos could do to not play so much into Frank's game is for him to sit down himself and then to almost force a leg exchange. But again, that's what Frank wants.
Right, and he's done that here at Rise in the past, where he uses that passing position. He particularly loves that back step. He loves to step back and then step forward again to expose the legs and go for those leg locks from top. He had that in his match against Ray De Leon. And he's hoping that with a victory here, he can have that rematch. Now Carlos putting a little bit of pressure. This is more of a traditional half guard.
Carlos wants to be.
Yeah,
he wants to be here, pressure pass.
And he's doing a good job of flattening Frank out. This is a traditional half guard. And this is probably a position where he feels a little more comfortable and he's able to apply more pressure. Look how he's got that tight waist. Frank's doing a good job of trying to turn to his side. And he's keeping his right arm tight so that he can pummel it. Now he's got a better position. Now he's closer to where he wants to be. But there's only 2 minutes left in regulation. And one of these guys is going to have to try and find an opening. Carlos is doing a good job of using his head to manage the distance and keep Frank's head back. Carlos gives a little shoulder shrug there. Now he's the one pressuring forward and Frank is moving back a little bit. And Frank goes for that arm drag, and that arm drag allows him to catch the leg behind the knee. But Carlos, look how he pins that leg down.
Yeah, that was really nice. And he wants to keep that going. He wants to get back to that half guard position.
Carlos is such a really skilled black belt. Tons of competition experience. Frank may be a little more familiar with this particular rule set, competing a lot on the sub-only circuit.
Right. And what's really helping Carlos is that
1 minute in
keeps limping
regulation
that leg
time
out.
left.
You know, every time Frank goes to capture that leg, he limps the leg out, controls the ankle, limps the leg out, controls the ankle, and then when he sees the opportunity, he hops in. But we may go to OT here, and then they'll be forced into a position that is not leg locks.
Yeah, there's only about 40 seconds left. And Frank is still working his game. He's still trying to catch that leg. Carlos has been mostly on the defensive for this match. He's had a couple of situations where he's been able to apply pressure, but really not a submission threat so far. And you have to wonder if at this point have both guys kind of accepted that it's going to overtime. You know, 20 seconds left.
That has to be going through their mind right now. I mean, they don't want to exert themselves too much because there's only 12 seconds and they're such high-level competitors that it's almost not worth it to expend that even a little bit of energy with 10 seconds left.
And that's it. That's the end of regulation time. 10 minutes has
We're
expired.
going overtime. 1 round of EBI overtime with the title on the line.
So we're going to 1 round of EBI rules overtime. They'll have the choice as to whether they want to start off with back control or a spider web position. Each one will have the opportunity. Fastest submission or most riding time. That's how it's going to work. So we're going to do a coin toss to see who gets to choose. Not sure if we can see it from here. Okay, Carlos Rosado is going first. And what position does he want? It's going to be the back mount, 2 hooks in, seatbelt grip. Frank Rosenthal has to escape as fast as he wants, as fast as he can, excuse me. Carlos needs that quick submission. And he goes aggressive for the throat.
Switches it.
You have to believe Frank is in this position a lot with the guys he trains with.
Carlos has been waiting for this position.
Ooh, and look at that crossface.
That
That
he crush his face.
Nothing pretty about that. That's some rough stuff. He's got the body triangle with those long legs. Frank is fighting aggressively to get out of there. And it's not just to defend the submission right now, Nick. It's a race against the clock.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Carlos doing a great job.
That body triangle.
Cross-facing him, putting him in some little bit of pain compliance there. But looks like he's almost out. And
Frank
he's
is out.
Oh, transition to the triangle.
And
Frank was looking up for the ref to save him there, but he seems to be out. I don't know what they're waiting for here. He's out.
Now he's out.
Okay.
I think the ref was judging that there may have been
maybe the ref wasn't sure
or
what was
attempted
happening.
a bicep slicer there. Maybe he had the arm trapped in after the escape from the triangle. Now I think a little bit of blood that they're going to want to clean up might have happened during that scramble and escape. The referee's going to confirm the time. Okay, so now what Frank has to do since he escaped is he has to either ride out the position, whatever he elects to choose, for longer than Carlos was able to hold the position. Or if he gets a submission, of course, it's going to be over.
And Carlos is looking to escape in less than 45 seconds.
So 45 seconds is the time to beat. And if they hit 45, the match will stop and Frank will be the winner.
Yeah.
And he immediately locks up that body triangle. And it looks like he's fighting for the choke as it is. He might get it. Nick, he's fighting for that choke. He might finish it off right here. The time might not matter. The submission might end it. Frank Rosenthal trying to keep his championship. He's in a great position, and he's putting as much pressure as he can, trying to readjust the grip. Carlos Rosado doing everything he can to hold on and escape. If he can escape, he's the champ. But if Frank can finish it, it's over.
We got 29. That's tight. Fighting
Such
the hands,
a
fighting
tense
the fingers there.
Yeah,
Gritty,
and
gritty
all the while, he's got that body triangle locked up. Not a lot of time left.
4 seconds left to escape. Oh, and that's time. Hit the bell.
Time! Frank Rosenthal hangs on. He maintains the position, and he keeps the championship. Frank Rosenthal is still your featherweight champion. Little bit of blood, but I'm sure he doesn't mind. What a performance. He had to gut it out. Carlos Rosado gave him everything he could handle. Tremendous performance by Rosado in his own right. But Frank Rosenthal is still your 145-pound Rise Invitational champion. He wins it in overtime.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, in overtime, the winner by more riding time, he retains the Rise Featherweight Championship, Frank Rosenthal. And the belt goes back around his waist, presented by former world kickboxing champion Lou Neglia and New York Fighting's Matt Cully. Our Rise Featherweight Champion, Frank Rosenthal.
Okay, we're here with Rise Featherweight Champion Frank Rosenthal. Frank, it was a tough match. It went to overtime. You had to gut it out. How do you feel?
Guys, first off, thank you to Carlos and his team for being such a tremendous competitor and taking the match. He truly is one of the best black belts out there, and I meant it when I said it, and you know, we're lucky to have guys like him to compete against.
Frank, earlier tonight, Ray DeLeon won the #1 contenders match. Looks like you may be having a rematch with him. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, he's definitely next in line. Again, he looked great tonight, so, you know, whenever Rise 8, come fucking get it.
Well, you look great tonight, too. Frank Rosenthal, ladies and gentlemen.